ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्ठिके। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Canto 3, Chapter 13, Appearance of Lord Varahadev. Text number 34. We chanted this during the Pushpanjali. We'll chant once again. Rishaya uchuhur jitam jitam te ajita yajna bhavana jitam jitam te jita yajna bhavana jitam jitam te jita yajna bhavana trayim tanum swam paridhunvate namaha. Trayim tanum swam paridhunvate namaha. Trayim tanum swam paridhunvate namaha. Yadroma garteshu nililyor adhayaha. Yadromagarteshu nililyoradhayaha. Yadromagarteshu nililyoradhayaha. Tasmai namaha karana sukarayate. Tasmai namah karana sukarayate. Tasmai namah karana sukarayate. Rishaya uchuhu jitam jitam te jita yajna bhavana. Trayim tanum swam paridhunvate namaha. Yadromagarteshu nililyoradhayaha. Tasmai namah karana sukarayate. Rishaya uchuhu jitam jitam te jita yajna bhavana. Trayim tanum swam paridhunvate namaha. Yadromagarteshu nililyoradhayaha. Tasmai namah karana sukarayate. Rishaya uchuhu jitam jitam te jita yajna bhavana. Trayim tanum swam paridhunvate namaha. Yadromagarteshu nililyoradhayaha. तस्मै नमः कारणसुकरायते ऋषय ऊचुः जितं जितं ते जितयज्ञभावना त्रयीं तनुं स्वां परिधुन्वते नमः यद्रोमगर्तेषु निनिल्युरद्धयः तस्मै नमः कारणसुकरायते ऋषय ऊचुः. The glorified sages uttered, Jitam, all glories, Jitam, all victories, Te, unto you, Ajita, O unconquerable one, Yajna Bhavana, one who is understood by performance of sacrifice, Trayi, personified Vedas, Tanum, such a body, Swam, own, Paridhunvate, shaking, Namaha, all obeisances, Yat, whose, Roma, hairs, Garteshu, in the holes, Nililyuhu, submerged, Adhayaha, the oceans, Tasmai, unto him, Namaha, offering obeisances, Karana Sukaraya, unto the hog form, assumed for reasons, Te, unto you. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. All the sages uttered with great respect, O unconquerable enjoyer of all sacrifices, all glories and all victories unto you. You are moving in your form of the personified Vedas, and in the hair holes of your body, the oceans are submerged. For certain reasons, to uplift the earth, you have now assumed the form of a boar. Please repeat this translation after me. All the sages uttered with great respect, O unconquerable, enjoyer of all sacrifices, all glories and all victories unto you. You are moving in your form of the personified Vedas, and in the hair holes of your body, the oceans are submerged. For certain reasons, to uplift the earth, you have now assumed the form of a boar. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Lord can assume any form He likes, and in all circumstances, He is the cause of all causes. Since His form is transcendental, He is always the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as He is in the causal ocean in the form of Mahavishnu. Innumerable universes generate from the holes of His bodily hairs, and thus His transcendental body is the Vedas personified. He is the enjoyer of all sacrifices, and He is the unconquerable Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is never to be misunderstood to be other than the Supreme Lord because of His assuming the form of a boar to lift the earth. That is the clear understanding of sages and great personalities like Brahma and other residents of the higher planetary systems. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the third canto describes the appearance of Lord Varahadev. I'll just narrate very briefly the pastime of the appearance. While Brahma was engaged in the process of creation, at the beginning of a new day, this day of Brahma, present day, the day of Brahma is called Kalpa. So this Kalpa has got a name, Shweta Varaha Kalpa. Why this name? Because at the beginning of this day of Brahma, the Lord appeared in the form of Shweta Varaha, white boar form. Boar is little different from a pig. Pig means this domestic animal which eats stool. It's called Vitvaraha. Bhagavatam is perfect. It describes everything very nicely. So then there is one wild boar. It's called a boar. It's like a pig, but it doesn't eat stool. It actually feeds on all kinds of vegetation in the forest. In Ooty, they say when somebody cultivates vegetables little away from the city, then these wild boars come in the night in huge numbers and they eat away all the vegetables that have grown nicely. One devotee was having some land had taken some land on lease in Ooty and wanted to grow vegetables for the temple in Bangalore. And very nicely the land was tilled and all the seeds put, everything. And then when the vegetables were growing, he was very happy. So I can offer to Krishna Balaram. Those days we had only Krishna Balaram deity in Bangalore. So nice vegetables and to the devotees. So when the vegetables were just about to be cut, night wild boars came and eat away all the vegetables. So this wild boar is a different species of this pig variety. So the Lord assumed the form of this wild boar and his complexion was white complexion, Shweta Varaha. So when Brahma was engaged in the process of creation, the earth had been flooded with the water of devastation the previous night. And after the night is over, the water recedes and all the planets, the middle and the lower planetary systems, they will again surface. But during the beginning of this day, all the planets surfaced except the Earth planet. Earth planet remained in the Garbhodaka ocean. So then Brahma is thinking, what to do? The creation cannot proceed because the place of residence for the created beings is the different planets. So this Earth planet, which is a place of residence for so many human beings and animals and birds and all that, now there is no place because the Earth is not yet surfaced. So Brahma began to think what to do. So he began to pray to the Supreme Lord, you have to do something. Suddenly, when Brahma was offering prayers, a small form of a boar came out of his nostril. And Brahma began to see, what is this? Something has fallen from my nose. And he's looking. Suddenly, that creature went up in the sky and started growing very big. And the creature became so big, huge form of the boar. And then Brahma was present there with the sages like Marichi and the Kumaras and Swayambhuva Manu. So he began to look at this gigantic form of the boar, and he was thinking aloud, is this some extraordinary entity come in the pretense of a boar? It is very wonderful that he has come from my nose. First it appeared like a very, very, very small size. But then in a moment it has become so big. And Brahma began to think, is it the Supreme Lord, Vishnu, who has appeared in this form? Because he is praying for the Lord to do something about rescuing the earth. Suddenly, the Supreme Lord, who had actually appeared as a boar, he roared very, very loudly like a great mountain. A mountain, sometimes a mountain is present as a living being. As a living being. And sometimes the mountains also can make a loud roaring sound. And the volume of that sound depends on the size of the mountain. Bigger the mountain, louder the sound. So, even though the boar can make sound, but the ordinary boar in this material world cannot make a loud roaring sound like a huge mountain. So this boar has appeared in the form of a boar, very, very, very big in size. And not only the size is big, like a big, huge mountain, but it is in the sky. There is no mountain in the sky. Mountains are on the surface of the earth. So this has appeared in the sky. And this boar is making the sound like a roaring mountain. So Brahma was thinking, maybe it is the Supreme Lord has appeared. So when that roaring sound was heard by the Brahmanas and the sages and Lord Brahma, then they got confirmation it is actually the Supreme Lord who has appeared in this form of a boar. And they could make out no boar can be such a big size, one thing. Secondly, cannot fly in the sky. Thirdly, cannot make a sound like that of a huge mountain. And this sound was not just heard in that place. It was echoing all over the universe. So nobody can make a sound which will be heard throughout the universe. Nobody can do, no living entity can do that. Only the Supreme Lord, who is the unlimited Lord, can make such a sound. So that confirmation, the sages and Brahma, they got that confirmation. It is the Supreme Lord. Then what did he do? Playing like an elephant, he entered into the water after roaring again in reply to the Vedic prayers by the great devotees. All these devotees offered wonderful prayers to the Supreme Lord who appeared in the form of a boar. And after hearing the prayers, again he roared in confirmation that those prayers are meant for him. He is the Supreme Lord. He has come to answer the prayer of Brahma and to solve their problem. Then what did he do? He actually entered the water of the Garbhodaka ocean to rescue the earth. And his glance was brilliantly shining, luminous. And he scattered the clouds in the sky with his hooves and his glittering white tusks. The ordinary pig doesn't have tusk. The wild boar has got tusk. So this form of the Lord as a boar had glittering, means shining white tusks, huge tusks. And he entered the water and he dived into the water like a giant mountain and divided the middle of the ocean into toe-high waves. And then penetrating the water, he found the limits of the ocean, although it was unlimited. For the Lord, the Garbhodaka ocean, which is very, 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 very big, that is nothing. As soon as he went inside, he found the depth of the ocean. And there he saw the earth lying there at the bottom of the ocean. So he personally lifted that using its tusks on his tip of his nose, nostrils, snout, where the two tusks were coming out. On that he scooped out and lifted the earth. Very easily he brought it out and placed it in the orbit of the earth, in the space above the Garbhodaka ocean. All the planets are floating in space above the Garbhodaka ocean. So he placed the earth in its proper orbit, in its proper position. And that's exactly the prayer of Brahma. So he answered the prayer of Brahma. So that appearance of Lord Varaha is today. Varaha Dvadashi. Maghamasa Shuklapaksha Dvadashi. Varaha Dvadashi. So this appearance is described, of course it is described in great detail in the Bhagavatam. So we offer prayers. The prayer we offered, I'll just read the meaning again. The sages are offering prayers to the Lord in the form of the boar. You are not an ordinary boar. You are the Supreme Lord. So you are actually Ajita Yajna Bhavana. Ajita means you are unconquerable. Nobody can conquer you. And Yajna Bhavana means you are understood only by performance of sacrifice. Otherwise, to look at the form of the Lord, one cannot understand that he is the Supreme Lord. Even though the form is special. There are some symbols on the form by which only great devotees and great saintly persons can recognize. Just like Krishna, on his chest he has got the Srivatsa mark. So by that mark, anybody who recognizes that mark on the chest, Srivatsankita, the impression of that Srivatsa, it's a hoof print of a calf. It's on the chest of the Supreme Lord Vishnu. So when he appears on his chest, the Srivatsa mark will always be there. So that is not easily seen by everyone. But the sages recognize and they address the Lord as recognizable only by performance of sacrifice. Yajna Bhavana. And they are praying all glories and all victories to you. Jitam Jitam Te. You are moving in your form of personified Vedas. That means the Lord's form is actually the form of all the Vedas. All the Vedas. Because the Vedas are simply glorifying the Lord. The Vedas are simply describing the Lord. The Vedas are describing His creation. The Vedas are describing his activities. So therefore, he is Trayim Tanum. His form is, Trayim means the Vedas. And he is got in his hair holes the oceans which are submerged there in his form as the Varaha Rupa. The hair holes are containing the oceans. Therefore, when he's shaking his body, some drops of water are coming out because the oceans are submerged in his hair holes. And those drops of water, wherever they fell on the earth, because such a huge body, one drop of water is like a huge lake. That lake became known as Bindu Sarovara. Bindu Sarovara. So in that Bindu Sarovara, Devahuti was made to take a bath to rejuvenate her body by Kardama Muni. Bindu Sarovara. So the Lord's form is the form of the personified, is the form of the Vedas, and also in his hair holes there are the oceans submerged. And he has assumed this form, Karana Sukarayate. He has assumed this form for a particular purpose, that is to lift the earth. He has assumed this form of a boar with these tusks. And Jayadev Goswami is glorifying Dashana Shikhare Dharani Tavalagna Vasati. Dharani means the earth planet. It is resting on the Dashana. Dashana means the snout or the nose. Shikhare means on the top of that nose, which is supported by the two tusks. The earth is beautifully resting. When you lifted the earth, Jayadeva Goswami is glorifying the Lord as incarnation as the boar. That when you lifted the earth is beautifully resting. It is looking like Shashini Kalanka Kaleva Nimagna. It's looking like the beautiful moon in the full moon in the night sky, glittering with the mark of a rabbit. The full moon, if you carefully look at it, it's got the mark of a rabbit. So the moon is described as Shashini Kalanka. So the earth, the round earth on the tusks of the Lord, when he had lifted out of the Garbhodaka ocean, it was glittering and brilliantly shining because the Lord's form is itself very, very brilliant. So the earth was appearing like a brightly shining moon. Brightly shining moon. And it was looking very, very beautiful. So that form of the Lord, Jayadeva Goswami is telling, Keshavadhrita Shukara Rupa Jai Jagadishahar. He has assumed this form for the sake of rescuing the earth from the Garbhodaka ocean. I'll stop it. Rantarat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Varahadev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.